Guys, we're going into winners finals. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. Feeling honestly super solid about this game, of course. Take a look at the right side of our screen. Sypher and Jaomock, of course, in this matchup. We got a little bit of a FaZe reunion, right? We talked about the competitive team. Jaomock, of course, facing off now against Tfue and Cloakzy. A big moment when it comes down to these things as far as storylines are considered, right? We talked about Tfue and Cloakzy, our last champions, essentially, for week number 7. They're obviously 3-time champions along with that, and they could also be the very first team to defend their title successfully in Friday Fortnite. Of course, a lot on the line, a grand finals appearance, and a guaranteed $7,000. Whew! It's about to get zesty. I'm excited.
You and I both. A dominating performance from Tfue and Cloakzy, not only this tournament, but almost every Friday Fortnite, as we're going to see them drop in a pretty passive in-between retail and salty spot. They're going to rotate over towards salty side. But again, the strategy from Sypher and Jaomock, if I'm not mistaken, is a mirror strategy where they're actually going to follow the opposing team. It seems to be working out really well for them. I don't think we've seen this before every single game as consistently as we've seen it with Sypher and Jaomock.
Yeah, and just to give you a little update here, TSM Fortnite tweeted at me, giving me some stats.
Shout out to that man.
Shout out to @TSM Fortnite, which actually gave me some stats on the last tournament. But Tfue is averaging 12.1 kills per match, where Cloakzy is averaging 8.4 kills a match. And 6 out of the 8 of Tfue's games were all double-digit kill games. So
we could all use a Cloakzy, man.
You talk about stats overall. These guys are providing and already starting off. How many times have we seen FaZe come over on the outskirts of Salty, come in, and already have the lead at least whenever it comes to overall kills?
Yep. Now, I want to point something out here. If you saw Tfue and Cloakzy right there, something very interesting is the new silenced SMG meta. I'm not sure if you guys have spoken to it at length today, but Tfue and Cloak absolutely love that weapon. The increased accuracy buff at medium to long range makes that thing an assault rifle. I mean, it is almost more viable than an assault rifle. You'll see Tfue in streams use the blue SMG over an assault rifle nowadays.
I see that. As you were saying that, Jaomock does in fact go down. So we're going to have to see Sypher go big to pick off this no skin, which, of course, he's going to do that. He's going to have to build up and kind of go for the res. Is a nice little low 1-by-1. I think he will, in fact, be able to get it. And notice he does have some minis in his back pocket, plus the half pot, so he will be able to get up to at least 100 health, or 100 shield. But meanwhile, look at FaZe. Is the shopping cart going a little crazy there on Cloakzy, but he does recover. But FaZe, they're going to be sitting at a total of 4 kills, and they've already rotated out to get that advantage, that little lead over Sypher and Jaomock, get that distance. So overall, they're poised to get some more kills over at Dusty.
And what I think we're going to see actually come through from Tfue and Cloakzy, I'm assuming, right, based off the zone for the moment, they're going to go and rush inside Dusty Divot, try to pick up some kills here, and then try to play Gatekeeper actually just outside of Retail Row, which I think is a fantastic rotation from them. This is a team, right, we talk about based off rotations. They are some of the best in the world when it comes down to finding these transition kills, and that's how they can kind of establish a little bit of a lead. They realize, hey, Salty Springs, it's a little bit low, right? Not a whole lot of a saturation here. It's a big opportunity for them to really pick up moments, but just like that, 5 HP actually for Cloakzy. We talk about these engagements. They're huge. You need to find some bandages, some shields would be massive for them at the moment, but we talk about their rotation play. If Cloakzy goes down, that is all in shambles.
Yeah, it looks like he's in a safe spot right now. It's going to be all up to Tfue. He's going to get tagged up for shields here. So Tfue doing a good job maintaining his height advantage. That's something he does really well. It's a Tfue signature. The drop, build a floor, and stay alive here is now with 2 HP. Tfue's going to do exactly that. Cloakzy comes back and finishes off the clutch. And look at the beautiful plays that come in from FaZe Clan. Very well done from them. They both survive by the skin of their teeth.
And on single HPs, both players save each other, right? We talked about Cloakzy, super low on HP. Here comes Tfue to make sure he can kind of go for a little bit of the kind of the res as far as the health is considered. Exact same thing comes into play. Tfue takes damage. Cloakzy finishes off the fight. Fantastic teamwork, of course, coming in from our 3-time champions.
And with all that being said, only a 2-kill lead in the hands of FaZe at this point, as we are, in fact, going to be a little split up when it comes to the map itself, as Sypher and Jaomock are going to be pushing through this kind of no man's land on their way, over to Tilted Towers. So if they make their way over there before FaZe, which in fact they will, they have the potential to pick up a considerable amount of kills, especially since they will be deep in the circle, which means a lot of the players who kind of landed there have no reason to rotate out. They're just going to be camping that Tilted Towers area, and of course they're going to be rotating through. So if they can lock it down well enough, they will in fact take over the lead over FaZe if they don't continue to heat up.
It's interesting because FaZe took some damage in Dusty Divots. They had to heal up, get some mushrooms, but they are going to get a very fortunate rotation that came through, probably from Anarchy Acres or Tomato Town, as they leave Dusty Divot, pick up some more kills here. So great gameplay from FaZe so far. They are just increasing that lead, but agreed. Taylor, I love the rotation that comes through from to Tilted Towers from Sypher and Jaomock. But surprisingly enough, it is the only non-FaZe member in the game that is actually going huge for the Sypher Jaomock team. He has 5 kills to his name already. That is SypherPK.
And I know recently Sypher had announced, I think it was last week actually, heading into week number 7 actually, he was discussing and saying, hey, how he's going to change up his keybinds. He wasn't really impressed with his gameplay. And he actually changed things up so much so that he was actually going into streams. He was actually apologizing to his viewers. He's like, sorry guys, like I'm not communicating with you. I'm trying to focus on my gameplay and make sure things are kind of better under wraps. I know he said his keybinds were basically set up to where he couldn't sprint and build at the exact same time. Of course, that kind of equals things out to playing a lot more aggressively. It's kind of based on toward his overall mindset. So really glad to seeing him play at the top of his level, and you could argue the keybind change is probably a reason why a lot of these frags are coming in, playing a lot more solid as a overall when it comes down to this team.
Yeah, well said. I love this zoom in on Tfue right here. A good example right there we just saw of when to use that green SMG over the assault rifle. Rather than using that assault rifle at mid-range, he pulled out the green SMG, has near perfect accuracy, and was able to pick up that last kill right there. So it goes to show that that new SMG meta really is strong under the FaZe Clan team is leading the way with that. They absolutely love the new SMG.
And we definitely see some more engagements happening on your top right screen as Sypher picks off one, goes for the second just on the other side of that brick wall, and he'll rotate through and hopefully be able to pick him up as he does in fact do so, as we're going to see now sitting at a total of 9 kills. Still though trailing behind by 2, but matching pound for pound is going to be Sypher and Jaomock. Definitely the closest game we've seen at least as of tonight. And the FaZe boys, of course, you don't expect them to drop, so Sypher and Jaomock have to be very careful, because if one of them go down, the FaZe boys are going to smell blood in the water and continue on. But at this point, definitely solid plays on both ends, as Cloakzy does have a player drop in on him. Will he be able to take him out? Yes, he will, making quick work of him, as honestly, they're just cleaning up the lobby.
And kind of going back to the strategy that we see right now from, of course, Jaomock and Sypher, I really like the play of going tilted in this situation. Normally, I am a guy who's just like, you know what, ignore tilted all the time, but it's a matter of knowing when it's a good idea to try to transition into that. And when you're facing off against a solid team like FaZe Clan, the massive problem with facing off against this team is that they are finding kills throughout the match at every location. They have the rotations down to a T, and so let you counter that is obviously by going to high priority areas that they aren't. So that's a great position that they obviously grab in that spot, going tilted towers, not having to worry about FaZe in that exact situation. If you know anything about tilted, if anyone knows anything about tilted, there is always a squad there. So I like that play. Kind of in the middle game of this current moment, they're able to find frags and keep things close.
Yeah, that's a great point and well said. I think we've seen near perfect play from both teams. I loved the FaZe rotation to Dusty before Jaomock and Sypher were able to do so, and then Sypher and Jaomock countering that with the rotation to tilted. So great gameplay so far. We're going to zoom in on Cloakzy here, as he's going to be engaging, throwing some stickies there to try and keep himself alive. And look at him disengaging from this fight, waiting for his teammate. And here comes that blue AR. Some great shots, double pump, going to pick up some good damage as well. And just like that, Cloakzy doing what Cloakzy does best and absolutely slaying out as Tfue's going to rotate in and finish up.
And not only in their landing spots, but also in their engagements. I think from week to week, FaZe has really kind of slowed things down, but really, as far as placements have been considered, only sped up when it really comes down to most things. I think that's only credit to them, kind of realizing certain situations and kind of putting themselves in spots to succeed. It's a matter of not allowing RNG to come into so much of a factor, but use that building, use that fantastic shot that you have, and don't allow squads to really kind of collapse on you. Reassess the situation is what we see Cloakzy doing that last spot, as he just happens to hit 2 back-to-back. Beautiful. Amazing hunting rifle shots, but man, these guys have shots on them. And overall, when you combine that with the passive kind of consistent play that they already kind of have used in the past weeks, you're only going to see more and more success from these two.
What I find interesting about these two teams is how they're both splitting up. They are literally mirroring each other back and forth. Of course, FaZe getting the better end of the stick overall, but they're pushing deep into the circle. They're splitting up, and I got to say, like Fallout said, this is something not really typical that we've seen throughout our tournaments. That we're kind of, and we saw it from the Saturday Fortnite winners as well. They came in and they were mirroring both teams earlier in this tournament too. So maybe that's the new strategy overall. Maybe you know, split up, kind of monitor amount of kills, and or at least land together at that point and kind of monitor where you're going to go.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you actually saw that as soon as the FaZe Clan split up, that was Tfue that pushed towards Dusty Divot. You saw Sypher and Jaomock do the exact same thing. So matching them tit for tat, yin for yang, is Sypher and Jaomock right now, as they are trying to keep up in the kill category. And they're doing a good job of doing so. I think they're only behind a few kills here. We'll do some quick math and let you know in a moment. Actually, I think it's about 5 to 7 kills. So they're going to try and catch up in these last 13, actually make that 9 frags remaining in this game.
And this is actually a pretty interesting spot right now from Sypher. Of course, top right of our screen. He's pretty close to that zone, but he's trying to really kind of find the exiting players, the kind of guys who are kind of maybe lower health, maybe a kind of a rogue squad who hasn't really made it that far out of the zone. It's a pretty tricky situation to be in, but if he can find a squad out of this, that would actually be huge because there's no way in any situation that anyone's going to find those frags. But take a look in the bottom right now, transitioning from Sypher over to his teammate Jaomock. This is a very interesting slash risky play to be making at the moment. I believe he actually is going to be engagements with the other team as well, trying to find these frags. Of course, constant lanes being seeked after as he's trying to grab that high ground advantage, and of course, firing some shots from afar.
Yep, and it's actually going to be Cloaksy and Tfue that come in and steal absolutely every kill. Jaomock's getting a little mad at his teammate right there. He's going to do a little bit of BM. But one thing I want to point out that's really interesting is things slow down a bit. Of course, as I say that, beautiful shot comes through from Cloaksy with the hunting rifle. But look at both Jaomock and Sypher. Neither of them rocking an AR. They have opted to go against the AR strat as they're both going with SMG and a dual pistols instead. So very interesting. This meta, it does not have ARs at the front and center anymore like it used to, as both of these guys on the right-hand side of your screen are not rocking ARs.
Very interesting. But you notice they do have the hunting rifles, though. I mean, and they land shots with them, so it's kind of curious because typically they love their ARs at least to get those ding
initial
shots.
Crit,
yeah, initial crit, but not opting out of doing that. But, of course, I guess they're expecting a lot of up-close and personal fights, which, in fact, they have been getting. But still, I would definitely think you need an AR in your back pocket.
Yeah, especially where the circle's ending up, too.
Yeah.
Wide open planes in this one.
Absolutely.
You can kind of argue, too, like I know when we talk about like pistols being added to the game, you're not thinking of a medium-range weapon unless, of course, you're talking about Halo. But, I mean, like the dual pistols in this game absolutely are incredibly viable. I mean, like I said, I think they do like, what, 43 damage?
Yeah, per shot.
Yeah, per
shot for 75.
Yeah, like that's unbelievable when you talk about like a pistol in the entirety of the game. So I think like going back to what Fallout said, of course, very well mentioned, is that kind of can substitute for that medium range engagement that the AR usually provides. You talk about having that dual pistol, it can even do more damage than you talk about like a green blue AR from certain aspects. So yeah, definitely kind of odd that we see the strategy being taken out, but at the same time, you can also kind of realize why that strategy is coming into play here.
Yeah, well said. And it's just heartbreaking right now if you're a Sypher and Jaomock fan, is every single time they get into an engagement, you can see the frustration on Sypher's face right now. Every single time they get an engagement, Cloaksy and Tfue are right there to counter. So they say, hey, you want to mirror our strategy? Yeah. Well, anything you can do, we can do better as they pick up those kills instead.
Also, can we give props really quick? I know I've been giving a lot to Cloaksy, but right now, sitting at 12 frags, 20 in total for FaZe. Of course, he's at a high majority of those. Normally, we give a lot of credit to Tfue. Of course, he's regarded as one of the best players in the world. But like I said, man, you got to give a lot of props to Cloaksy, man. He's the reason why Tfue can have a lot of that success, the reason why he's freed open to have a lot of those situations, a lot of those engagements. A lot of the time, it's actually going to be Cloaksy who's baiting out, allowing Tfue to kind of enter in those lanes, allowing him to be free to find a lot of those solo squad engagements and whatnot. And like I said, in this game, when Tfue is obviously having a pretty solid game, Cloaksy's there to kind of be that extra, to be the extra credit essentially of this FaZe team and allow themselves to continually have a lead while Tfue's not leading the way. Cloaksy's always there.
In case you guys were wondering, yes, Lando is starting the Cloaksy fan club here.
I am.
As
Absolutely.
soon as this match ends.
Like it on Facebook at the end of this broadcast or Twitter, either one.
Yeah, but either way, we do see Sypher is in fact going to get some distance between him and Tfue using those bouncer traps. Will be in an engagement here, but this player is not a bad player indeed. He's actually battling that high ground considerably well. Now he's going to be in that dreaded 1x1 and have to edit his way down as we'll see if Sypher can pick it up. But notice that Tfue is in fact going to be there, and Tfue is going to get it as Sypher
oh my gosh, look at that.
doesn't pick up any of them. Tfue picks up all of them, and you can see how
he's like, how did that just happen?
Yeah, well, you got to be thinking now they're sitting at 22, and I talked about those stats in the beginning. What is it, 8 out of 10 or 6 out of 8 games, Tfue has got over 20 kills, and he's well on his way to do that. As we're seeing now 10 kills in his back pocket, plus we have 12 for Cloaksy. That's 22 to whatever we see on the Sypher end. Now, that is just frustrating. Of course, both teams staying up, but it came down to the rotations overall. As FaZe just have something magical that they do with those rotations.
And that's the thing that I talk about. Like, I think Ninja and especially Tfue, best kill stealers in the entire game. And that exact kind of last few engagements definitely goes to show it as they end out this game 22-9 advantage.
Wow.
We talk about Sypher quite a bit. Jaomock pretty slow in that game. I don't know how many kills he finished off with. I know he was around 2 when there was about 25 engagements remaining. So I'm not sure.
7, so yeah.
Yeah, so stayed at 2 for a majority of this game. You want to talk about his proving ground, being able to say, hey, teammates, like I'm here too, man. I'm in the winners finals. I'm here for a reason. Not really shown up too much in that game number 1. But, of course, game number 2, we'll see how it lands. Jaomock and, obviously his teammate now, what do they do, him and Sypher? Like, what's the strategy called? Do they kind of play mirroring toward Tfue and Cloaksy, which probably wouldn't be ideal. That team's going to be playing pretty slow. But do you make a shifty play, or do you go inside Tilted Towers, which in the past is what Sypher and obviously Nick Merckx's prior teammate like to do? It's a matter of a strategy call here, and at least you got a guy like Sypher who has a great mind on him to make that call happen. So a lot on the line, but need to see a lot more out of Jaomock for sure if they want to make this comeback happen.
And my question is this the winners bracket finals? Because, gosh, I mean, you expect two teams, two powerhouses in the winners bracket finals, but FaZe is just so dominant. Yep. And again, it's not anything necessarily that Sypher and team are doing wrong. It's just what Tfue and Cloaksy are doing so well.
Right.
Sypher's positioning himself well. They're making the right calls. We talked about perfect gameplay there in the mid game. It's just not gonna be able to connect for those kills when it matters the most. So let's see now a crucial drop for both teams. We'll see where they end up.
Yep. Game number 2 well underway as we see FaZe is going to have a 13-kill lead as Sypher and Jaomock have a lot of work ahead of them, as it looks like they will go to risk. No, where they get
split push here.
Looks like
dropping Anarchy.
Looks like Anarchy. So this is the battle pass that we talked about. A lot of players are going to be going over to Anarchy because what is it? Search chest, I believe, is the.
I believe so. Yeah,
I believe it's search 7.
No, it's eliminate players.
Or is it
eliminate
players?
Opponents in Anarchy Acres? Yeah.
So obviously going for that battle pass is going to be Sypher, and then Jaomock is going to be over to Salty Springs. So we do have a split. I don't disagree with this. I mean, being down 13 obviously is a huge deficit, especially here. But now with Jaomock being inside of Salty Springs, he is going to have the drop on the FaZe boys, who just on the outside once again. They've been doing this all tournament. They go to the dilapidated houses on the end, and they'll be pushing their way in. So Jaomock does have an advantage here if he's able to pick up his kills.
Look at Sypher, though, from the flank. Oh, my gosh, just the timing to take down that player. He did not have a weapon, and he engaged. I believe in this house, there's at least 2 more players here. So you talk about trying to get in those engagements early. Sypher, a near kind of unfortunate spot. That player had dual pistols. A quick turnaround, and Sypher is dead meat. And Jaomock and Sypher are saying, hey, welcome back to the losers bracket. We're in a pretty awkward position, but here comes another opportunity for Sypher to keep up these kills. We talked about Anarchy Acres last game around for Hysteria. That cut watch didn't really pay off too much. At least for Sypher off the break, he's at least finding a few enemies here and there.
And interestingly enough, he opts to leave the dual pistols. Not sure if that's on purpose or not. But 2 tactical shotguns in his inventory. He decides to keep the dual pistols behind. Some players don't like them. We'll see. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side of your screen, you see Tfue and Cloaksy pushing up towards Salty and doing absolute work. If I'm Jaomock right now, you need to pop off in this fight. He's going to do exactly that. Downs 1. He gets himself rewarded with a nice grenade launcher and a pump shotgun. So let's see if he can put that to work.
It's definitely going to be interesting, especially how Jaomock is going to rotate out of Salty. If he does, in fact, survive, he's going to have FaZe hot on his heels. So he's got to break away from that at that point. But it looks like Salty is going to be dwindling away in terms of overall kills. He's kitted up at this point. It looks like he might be moving his way out. He's going to go and opt for that card. Of course, for Sypher, it's slowing down a little bit too at Anarchy. He did pick up 3 frags in his back pocket. But now where does he rotate at this point, right? We talk about the rotation after Anarchy. It's a bit tough and slow going from there.
It's tomato or pleasant.
It's tomato or pleasant. So pleasant probably your better option to be going to, but it's going to be slow pickings from here. Meanwhile, Tfue, Cloaksy, they drop in. They already had the lead. They pick up 2 kills, which, mind you, put Sypher and Jaomock only 1 frag ahead. Now they're already going to be at Dusty Divot, whereas Jaomock, he's going to be hanging back on the outside of Salty. He's going to be pushing the opposite way, and he's just gaining resources. Looks like he will be trying to go over towards that tilted area, but Dusty, that's an area you'll at least pick up at least 1 squad there.
Yeah, and beautifully called there, Taylor. Look how fast the rotation comes through to Dusty Divot. A beautiful play from Tfue and Cloaksy to rotate over quickly and pick up those necessary kills, and they're going to be able to clean house at Dusty Divot right now. And guess what? Not one member of the opposing team in sight, as they opted for a little bit of a gamble heading over towards Tilted instead.
And I like this play actually coming through, from Jaomock. Granted, you're at this point of the game. You got 1 frag under your belt, 3 in total when it comes down to this match or this entire series. He's going to make a push happen, and you're also going to see him go and pull out the bounce pad here to make sure he can head over to this location quick and fast. Sypher, it was a nice idea to go to Anarchy Acres, but you found 1 squad, and you're kind of in an awkward spot since then. He's going to have to make a pretty far jaunt to get into more of those engagements. So while Sypher is pretty much at a standstill, that's where we're going to have to see Jaomock really come in clutch and have to make something happen. So going to be a pretty difficult spot here for Jo, but this is the opportunity to do it. This is the opportunity to really prove yourself when it comes on a Friday Fortnite solo squads, down versus FaZe. We've seen people do it before. It's not going to be easy, but if there was a guy to do it, now would be the time to prove yourself.
Oh, Jaomock in a tough spot here. He's going to get tagged up in a world of hurt as an entire squad is raining a parade on him right now. He needs to try to do something, and it's not going to mean much as he's just going to get destroyed by some splash damage there. Jaomock is out of this game, all up to SypherPK right now, who just left that Anarchy Acres rotation, moving over towards Tomato Town. But you got to say it's looking grim right now for the right side of your screen.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried at this point. You know, being at Tomato, you're not going to find a lot of players there. Of course, Tfue Cloakzy opting to go over towards retail. So now what do they hit up? They've hit out the outside of Salty. They've hit up Salty. They've hit up Dusty. They found kills at all of these locations.
Yep.
Now they're going to be at retail to potentially find even more engagements. Meanwhile, Cypher, Anarchy was a fast start. Came out with 3 frags total, but now he's in an area where he's not going to find too many engagements. He's going to be at Dusty now, where we just saw FaZe clear it out. So at this point, to cover this deficit is definitely looking grim at this point. 28-13. That is going to be a 15 frag lead for the men of FaZe as they continue it on. But how many engagements do we have? We still have, what, 20? Yeah. 24 engagements. So yeah, it's looking pretty bad.
I'm going to point out quickly, when we saw Cypher find those initial kills, after he found the third one, there was 78 players alive. There is now 27, and he still only has 3 kills.
Yeah.
Like, that massive amount of player base that was there is totally lost because of how long it takes to get from Anarchy Acres to a prominent location. Like I said, you go to Tomato Town,
great point.
you can go to Pleasant Park. You have to go through Loot Lake to get to Artilla Towers. I like the idea of Anarchy, but being down the way that you were, Jaomock also goes with FaZe. Like, if you want to make a comeback, you got to go where the enemy isn't. I feel like if we're going to see a kind of an odd push, kind of an out of strategy play call from Cypher, we got to see a pretty consistent landing zone come through from Jaomock, and it was exactly the opposite. I think they absolutely could have played this one a little bit better when it comes down to things. Of course, as far as strategies are considered, you're learning, right? You're going to have an opportunity to really see what works or what does not work really versus this FaZe team. But I don't mean, I was kind of not a big fan when we saw, obviously, Cypher go toward Anarchy Acres and not much of a result from Jaomock. I think whenever he pulled out the jump pad, it'd be like, hey, since Cypher's not finding anything, I have to literally sprint into Tilted.
Push.
Yeah, exactly. Desperation push to try to find anything that I possibly can just to make this one even possible. And obviously, Tilted Towers, for the most part, is undefeated. I think only Ninja and High Distortion have officially taken it down. But boy, is it it's unfriendly to say the least. And Jaomock felt the wrath of Tilted in that last situation.
Yeah, he definitely did, as now the kills are quickly getting away from Cypher, and Jaomock looks like it could be wrapping it up as, yeah, there it is once again, as the lead is going to continue for the FaZe boys. And I'm just about to call it at this point. FaZe, though, if they move on, right, to the grand finals, they have the potential to win back-to-back tournaments, also win $40,000 in Friday Fortnite. Total, they are by far one of the most dominating duos in Fortnite competitive, at least at this point. Of course, still 6 months away from the true competitive, but at this point, this is a great intel as to how FaZe is going to be doing it, and they're only improving every single time, showing the rotations are extremely important, and no one does it better than FaZe, obviously. But Cypher, I just got to say, for Cypher and Jaomock to make this run, obviously a new duo, they came in pretty big, and of course they're not going to be out. They're going to be moving down to the loser bracket, which correct me if I'm wrong, they're guaranteed what, $3,000? Yeah, so they're going to be in the money, both of them, and I think this is the first time. Yeah, it is. It's the first time Cypher's been in the money since the first tournament where they won $5,000. But this is the first time for sure for Jaomock to be in the money. So still not all is lost. The top 3 finish, at least bare minimum, is not too bad.
And going back to the credit for FaZe Clan, getting that intel, like you said, Taylor, regarding like how skilled this team is, and also going back to what Follow said, this is the winners finals, and they are just decimating team after team after team. And it's almost like we're coming into these matches like, okay, Cypher and Jaomock versus FaZe. Like, what's FaZe going to do? Can they continue on their wrath? And FaZe is like, yep, this is about to be a boring game for you guys because we're going to destroy, we're going to continue to dominate, and our strategies are going to work each and every single time. So, like I said, man, it's one credit to make games interesting, but it's also even more credit when a team can make a winners finals almost boring at some aspects because of how dominant these two players are.
Yeah, and I for some reason, I feel like the one team that can match up with them really well would be Ninja Hysteria. I know it's a little bit weird to say, kind of a rock, paper, scissors match. They lost to Cypher and Jaomock quite decisively, but I feel like Ninja matches them from a skill standpoint. I think they have great teamwork, great rotations. They play just the right balance of passive, aggressive. I think if they match up against them in the finals, we'll see a close match.
Yeah, and I think you weren't here, and I don't know if you're watching, but they went against their first match was High Distortion and Crafty. Yeah, that was their first match. And
versus FaZe, yeah.
And I believe they beat them quite decisively, didn't they? Or what was the overall score?
I don't remember the exact scores, but I just remember like a few notes from that game was like High Distortion and Crafty kind of struggled to kills in the first game. I think one of them died early, and FaZe pretty much kind of continued on their rampage as far as most things are considered. But I mean, this is a difficult team where I'm sure, at least as far as other duos in Friday Fortnite are coming at this and like, hey, what strategies have been in play and what strategies can we use to try to take down this team? Because we've seen teams try to play fast. We've seen teams try to play slow. Obviously, in this last game, it's kind of like you almost have to pray that they either die early or something happens to work out for you. And in a game of obviously RNG such as this, it's hard to form solidified strategies to take down such a solid team like this. But even going to the back of Sypher and Jaomock in the last game, even mimicking FaZe. You still can't play at the same level that they are. And I think it's a matter of them just putting in the work, them kind of developing strategies, and also them working on counters. I know a lot of people on Reddit have been speculating how FaZe has been winning a lot of our tournaments, and a lot of the time it's really kind of been them based off of landing zones and them based off the rotation kills. They just always know where the players are at, and they're also always thinking about how they can counter their enemy and always grab those advantages. And I think that's one always aspect that teams yet have kind of figured out is how FaZe can obviously do that game in and game out. So,
and there's the score. I think it's over, Fallout.
I think it is, and I just blinked, and somehow Sypher ended up in Greasy Grove. From Anarchy Acres to Greasy Grove, I'm sure how he got there, but yeah, I think it is over at this point. 16 people left in the game, only 12 available kills. Sypher in a pretty tough spot here. If he dies here, okay, that would have been a little rough. He able to finally get that kill, but I think that's going to be all she wrote. Yeah. Great job by Tfue and Cloakzy. Phenomenal performance. We can't speak even any more highly about how great they've been performing in these Friday Fortnite events.
Yeah, and honestly, it came down to the rotation. Sypher, Jaomock, unfortunately, that second round, their rotations they just weren't there. They were just a bit awkward, in my honest opinion. I mean, if we're looking at this is very interesting for Tfue, making these weird shapes, just pushing across. Gotta respect
parkour.
So it seems over the water. Look at this, man. Didn't know you could do that, actually.
I did not either.
That's pretty cool. You learn a lot just casually coming in and then and trying to pick off some kills over at Loot Lake. But it came down to the rotations, and ultimately it just was a bit awkward at some points, and it just didn't work out for them. They weren't able to find it. That's almost the same thing that we saw Ninja and Hysteria in one of the previous matches. We saw Hysteria go over, and unfortunately he wasn't able to pick up. So obviously showing, Anarchy may be a battle pass area where, it's meant for kills, but you may go over there, you may pick up some kills.
It's just not normally like a prominent area.
It's not, but the rotations, too, after that kind of justify not going there.
Right.
Because, yeah, you may end up with a good start, but where do you go from there? And I think that's moving forward. Anarchy probably isn't the best place for any of these teams to be going to. Obviously, keep it traditional, maybe Salty, Retail, go Tilted, Shifty, in fact, but maybe even Risky towards the very end. But Anarchy, I don't see it being worked.
Jaomock. Cloak! There he goes down the hill. Oh, that is so boss.
Did he build? Where is that? Where is this
Oh
place?
my gosh!
I didn't know the place existed.
I give it a 10. I give it a 10.
9 out of 10.
Is that a map?
Always room for improvement.
Is that a ramp built into the map?
I'm like the Simon Cowell of kart.
The old Paula duel. That was fantastic. Great job. Great job, Cloakzy.
That was actually really cool. I didn't know that existed on the map.
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing tonight.
They built ramps.
I know what I'm doing tonight. Just landing there every time and just finding a shopping cart, just doing tricks overall.
Trying to get on the
Diving
screen.
off the edge.
There's actually a little glitch right now where if you get speed and you're in the shopping cart, if you shoot your shotgun while you're actually going and accelerating down, you will send a shopping cart forward and it'll blast in the air. So it's like a little glitch that is yet to be fixed. But some fun things that can happen with the shopping cart.
And you are the reason that Epic keeps taking out of the game, my friend.
Hey, well, Reddit beat me before it, but yes.
Reflections LTM.
Exactly. So, well, there it is. FaZe moves on, of course, $7,000 minimum, but they're going for that $10,000. And mind you, bare minimum, they have won $37,000 at this point in Friday Fortnite. We're looking to make it 40, of course. I keep harping on that. But they are going to be, in fact, guaranteed a spot in the grand finals. And, man, I don't know who's going to be going up against them, but whoever does
they'll earn it. That's for sure.
They will for sure earn it.
Some solid team in that, some solid squads in that losers bracket for sure.
Absolutely, man. I don't know, Fallout. I don't know what we can do to stop them.
I
really don't.
They're unbelievable. I mean, how fast they can edit their teamwork, their rotations. I mean, we've beaten a dead horse in terms of how great they are. It's just amazing to witness. I'm interested to see. It works really well in this high kill format. Interested to see if that success carries over to whatever format competitive Fortnite will be. But something tells me, man, it will. It definitely will.
That's the thing. How are they?